Critical Role might have just had their best live show ever. Hello everyone, welcome back to Fraud on the Telly. Join me today as we discuss a very special episode of Critical Role. That's because last night's episode of Critical Role was an airing of a live show special, the Mighty Nein Reunion Echoes of the Solstice. Spoiler warning. There's just really something about like D&D Dungeons & Dragons in a live show format that really it's just so much better than like the classic, at least form the way Critical Role does it with their production team in their studio. Nothing against the Critical Role episodes in their production studio. I think that they're awesome, but the live show format, whether it's the energy from the crowd or, the energy from the cast themselves performing live in front of people, it just changes stuff. Critical Role has a history of like super good live show specials. Some crazy moments in live show specials have happened on Critical Role. We think back to the climax of Campaign 1, for example. But last night's live show special very easily could have been one of the best live show specials ever. If not the best, it's definitely up there for sure, I think. You can really tell that the cast enjoy performing live for the crowd. Liam specifically, you can tell that he just eats it up and actually probably prefers performing in these live sessions. He's talked about this before, but Liam is a classically trained actor. He used to do a lot of like live stage performances. He talked about this in the past on their podcast, and he said that this is a way, these live show performances are a way for him to kind of get his stage acting fix, and you can really tell because Liam always ascends his performances during these live shows, and this one specifically, seeing as Caleb's story was very much the centerpiece, he really knocked it out of the park. So the story of this special live show follows the return of the Mighty Nein, the Critical Role characters party from Campaign 2. The special takes place 7 years after the ends of Campaign 2 and during the kind of big middle climax of Campaign 3 with the Apogee Solstice, where our big baddie, member of the Cerberus Assembly, Ludinus Delath, is using the Malleus Key, an ancient Aeorian reconstructed artifact to essentially bind the Red Moon of Ruidus to the planet of Exandria, potentially unlocking, releasing this ancient god-killing, god-eating being, Predathos, which it resides inside the Red Moon. If we remember back to this episode in Campaign 3, both Bo and Caleb made appearances to help our party in this big fight scene, this big battle. But ultimately, things didn't go very well. The special begins as Bo and Caleb have been shunted away from the Malleus Key during the Apogee Solstice, where they are teleported to the shores of Blightshore. It's here now with the Apogee Solstice that Caleb makes a horrible realization, as the Apogee Solstice is causing much magic around the world to misbehave, misfunction, and a lot of times not work. It's then he realizes that his mortal enemy, Trent Ikithon, probably one of the best villains in all of Critical Role, probably besides the Briarwoods, Trent Ikithon is the best villain that Matt Mercer has ever concocted. I think Caleb realizes that with magic failing across the world, that it's probably likely that Trent has escaped from his prison that he is being held in. It's here we have a montage of our gang all getting back together. I love the fact that the cast decided to cosplay their characters from the Mighty Nein, everyone looking super fly, super on point. Marisha's hair was on another level. Travis looked awesome in his Ford cosplay. I also loved Matt's cosplay as a main character in a Tim Burton movie. We have this big reunion, kind of a short little glimpse into what's been going on over the last 7 years with our characters. Jester and Ford have continued their relationship and now have a bunch of ships, and Ford's basically an admiral. Caleb and Bo continue their investigation to the Cerberus Assembly. Yasha and Bo are a couple. Cad is off in the Grove with his family, and Veth has started a summer camp for would-be adventurers. It's here where Sam plays an amazingly funny joke on all of us. His character, Veth, being a mother and a wife, decide that they are not going to go with the Mighty Nein to potentially stop whatever it is that Trent is planning, as they basically have too much to lose, making everyone wonder, okay, who is Sam going to play? I was obviously assuming that he was going to play a new character, but to everyone's surprise, Sam is actually playing his character Veth's son, Luke, who we learn is actually like in their late teens after Sam did a little, forced lore so he could play this character. I absolutely love this. I loved the nostalgia of all of these characters getting back together, our cast playing all of these very familiar characters and their chemistry, but then it was fun seeing Sam, the chaos man that he is, introduce a new element to the group, an element that just happens to be a kind of bratty, hormone-infused teenage boy. Sam is amazing at playing young adults. If you followed his voice acting career at all, you would know this because he's played so many young adults in animated series, like across his career, that he just knows how to play this type of character down to a T.
What are you doing here, Luke? Chill.
The interactions that Luke has with the party is also funny and very interesting, as this character apparently has grown up with the Mighty Nine, and basically all of the Mighty Nine are his aunts and uncles. And I love the relationship that Luke has with Ford, as he sees Ford as this like super awesome badass, while Luke's mother, Sam's former character Veth, used to always like rail on Ford and used to always like bring him down and would obviously always mess with Ford. It was just a fun kind of like counterbalance of character interactions that made for a very, very fun episode. The Mighty Nine return to Rexington. They go to the Cobalt Soul, where they discovered that yes, Trent has escaped and apparently has stolen several very important, rare, and dangerous magical artifacts. Oh, as well, here we got a surprise guest appearance from comedian Daniel Sloth, friend of Marisha and Matt. I saw some people complaining about Daniel's appearance in this episode online. To me, this seems kind of silly. The guy was only there for maybe like 20 minutes max, and he was just there as kind of a fun little brief comedic appearance. Oh yeah, I guess he did do a short stand-up comedy set as kind of the intro for before the Critical Role show actually started, but I'm gonna be honest, guys, I didn't watch this. Trent, it seems, has been called upon by some ancient, unknown entity, but he also wants to seek revenge on his prize pupil, Caleb. I love this relationship between Caleb and Trent. Trent is just this very horrible, manipulative, just absolute scumbag. He's one of the worst villains in all of Critical Role, and I think that it's his very human nature that make him such a great villain. His relation and his interaction and his story with Caleb is what makes him as a villain so bad. It's very similar to why the Briarwoods are so bad, but I think also the fact that he is a man. He is not this crazy powerful archdevil or some kind of fantastical creature. He is just a horrible evil man that has done horrible evil things and manipulates and uses people, and if that's not the worst of all the villains, then I don't know what is. Trent goads Caleb and the party to come to Caleb's hometown of Blumenthal, where he has reconstructed Caleb's former, childhood home. The childhood home that Caleb, we remember in his backstory, burned down, killing both of his parents.
Some real emotional abuse going on here.
I was very curious to see how Matt was going to deal with this combat, as most of the Mighty Nine are level 20, and I mean, Bo's stats are absolutely insane. Making combat for a level 20 party, especially one with 6 people plus Luke, which is a level 8 character, is definitely challenging. In stage 1 of the fight, we see Trent and Caleb's undead parents face off against the Mighty Nine and the exploded, kind of burning down remnants of his former childhood home. A very dark, dramatic scene. Ultimately, our party were very well prepared. Caleb making a simulacrum of herself, our party dumping all of these buff spells, and they rolled really well, and the first phase of this fight was relatively pretty easy, which brings us into phase 2, as Trent releases this strange being known as Omentus. We don't actually know what this dark kind of being is, except for the fact that it is massive. It is this kaiju-esque dark shadow entity, and it looks like some kind of crazy boss out of Dark Souls, and it's probably a top 3 Critical Role mini of all time. Very, very cool. Caleb transforms into a white dragon, Jester summons Artagan, and surprisingly, this combat was pretty easy, as the Mighty Nine managed to defeat Omentus and Trent, sealing both of them into the vessel in which Omentus was originally stored. And yeah, this is where our special ends. Then Luke ultimately becoming a member of the Mighty Nine. Ford proposes to Jester. The live crowd absolutely freaks out, and everyone goes home happy, except for the fact that we still remember in Campaign 3, evil lurks ahead as Ludens Delath continues his plan to release this god-eating entity. This was a very fun live show, especially the first half. The combat was somewhat predictable. Ultimately, once again, I feel for Matt, it's hard to make a combat for a party this big, as well as one that's filled with level 20 characters. They're very, very strong. Ultimately, though, I don't really watch Dungeons & Dragons for the combat, so I did enjoy this return to the Mighty Nine. I think I actually might have enjoyed it more than the other return to the Mighty Nine with Uk'otoa. It's always fun and nostalgic having our cast return to the former campaign characters, and Campaign 2 featured a lot of, in my opinion, some of the cast's best characters throughout all of the campaigns, and I love the chemistry of our cast together from Campaign 2. Everyone loves Campaign 2. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of nostalgia, and I forgot how much I missed live Critical Role in front of a live audience. It really just makes for such a different experience, in my opinion, and you can tell that the crowd, the audience, was absolutely losing their shit. Overall, pretty good, like 7.5, 8 out of 10. It's probably not the best live show Critical Role has ever done, but it's definitely like up there, probably top 3 for me. I am very curious to see what happens in the future of Campaign 3 and if we'll see any more returns of the Mighty Nine for the future of Campaign 3. If Bo and Caleb or any other character from Campaign 2 will make any more appearances in Campaign 3, but I guess we're just gonna have to wait and find out. As always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, learned something new, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you thought of last night's Critical Role Live special echoes of the Solstice in the comment section down below. If you want to see more Critical Role content, then please click one of the videos on screen now. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Drink your water, hug your mother. Until next time, peace, love, Adu.